vantage point. Not a movement forward, growth, or being one alone, or one of many, but in tilting the head sideways, the slightest degree, that hideous vertigo of a whole new language. Thank you everyone for coming out this evening. Very much appreciated on a surprisingly nice day in Portland. And thank you very much for Broadway Books for hosting us. We very much appreciate it. My name is John Sibley Williams.
Hey, Molotkov.
David Cooke.
Carrie-Ann
Ragon, Linde.
And we are part of the Moonlit Guttery team, and the performance of which you have a program for is called Raining Back Up.
Borders. A river crosses a border without a visa. I am tired, and yet my mind jumps out of bed and sings. Listen, butterfly, be careful. Take good care of your wings. The world has rough edges, dangers, borders, tall buildings, burning air, planes.
Through the lackluster light, a bird, the size of 60 birds, blackly descends on my laundry line and begins to feast on the bird, the size of no true bird, that I'd just drawn for you, from memory, on this forgotten anniversary.
Edges. I don't know where to start. Far before the moon pulled the tide to your chin, before your groin became a grotto, before the brine washed away the halos your feet squeezed into the sand. I don't believe in the alchemy of eels and their mud. It started before you felt their slither. I know where this ends, with lungs shortening and sinuses burning like sea radish. You tread and estimate how much longer you can stand. I know the sound of the ocean's throat. I carry its homunculus in my ear. The sea's words won't heal you. Neither will the earth. Though you press your heel on the folded edge of a spade and kick the ashes to reveal an ember, it glows, a window you stand outside of. The ground does not move. You visit the same stone, eat a meal of lavender seeds, but it will pass. You think the horizon's distant line is not crossed. It slides like a floater on your eye. It flees your direct gaze. Like the moon, it moves with you as you drive the switchbacks to Grizzly Peak. You don't think you're in it. You need distance for each wet piece of dust to appear as fog. Stop! Pushing the sky to the edges. You know where the sea starts, where your land ends. The sky starts there too. I've got my fingers on your head. In the air is where you live. The sea loves only its own. The earth knows only the print of your stride. closer than the chill on your wet finger. It suddenly touches you, enters you. The sky starts somewhere near the rough spot on the bottom of your heel.
The breath of no return. Only lately have I wandered into the smile of tomorrow, the breath of lungs prepared to retire. I extend into far reaches of my body. If I were a thought, it would take me years to get there. Only lately have I found the ending already begun, the noose making its way through purpose and vanity. For all my happy returns, I keep the recipe of round trip inscribed so lightly where I think my skin might be.
A conversation with Janice's two heads. Miles and miles of blue vision ahead.
I once drowned something I loved in Seaside.
The mountain behind that mountain is a river.
The landscape is mistakenly captured in portrait.
I am moving toward the voice that is your voice, my mouth.
Your meaning bordered what I heard.
Absolute truths are slowing, are coming to rest.
Everyone followed the iron rustling.
It is raining.
This could be the road
Let us greenly dance around its blooming.
to my narrow gods. Bring back up, where I think my skin might be
You
weak.
don't think
Confirm, no deny, confirm, nor deny, confirm. We live
on this high ground, the smoky starlight. There is an audience to every song. Is this what it means to touch?
railroad ties. Roads, sweat, tar, and the hot tangles out of the ground like swarms of smelt in Wisconsin creeks. The sun thuds down on days like these. Every swing of my arm crepitates. I am left with the scent of diesel. The hot drives the creosote from railroad ties. The hot pulls secrets like a cattle iron put to a man. I am sticky from the sting of it. I cannot warn you enough with my pink scars. Creosote burns slowly. It creeps out of timbers and scorches the tender like the back of my hand where it brought my strips of skin to boil. It is too hot for me to phrase it softly. I am too hard to melt, which leaves only burning. I do not love you. I thought I could make you come to say it.
To John Sibley Williams? Is there a land where our land might end if we didn't acknowledge the ocean? Is there a word when we cease to speak if we don't take silence for an answer? We went in search of another horizon, not so curvy, more reliable. We boarded a ship, but after years of sea sickness, we knew there was no sea, no ship.
Give me back my shame and the paths that lead me there. Give me back the beginning, be it the stark color of ivory or arsenic, of bone and teeth or slow-healing scars. Answer me why I remember best my own forgetting. But also, give me back the forgetting, especially the names of strangers and once visited rivers and harmless species of spider, and other words for contentment. I only want to remember that my name is uniquely its own. Give me back the bottom and the views it affords. Give me back myth and the views it affords. Give me back extinction and rebirth and the trauma of trivial times and the elevation of insignificance. Tell me why, among limitless possibilities, I accidentally boarded the right train.
Continuity. Whisper me into space. I want the darkness of galaxies to converge on me. List my name in the catalog of falling stars on a page whose number is unimaginable. I insist of being a part of an infinite cube of digits. I demand a microscopic space within the reign of light years. Make me a smiling atom hiding in a friendly molecule. Remember me into darkness. Imagine me into silence.
For this next poem, actually, just this one, I have a bit of a request. If everyone here can make whatever noises you feel like making for this poem. Doesn't matter what it is. Clap, stamp your feet, make a pig noise if you have a glass, clink it. Make some noise. It's fun for you, come on. Who doesn't want to make noise? Pretend like you're a child again for the next 3 minutes. Machine-like, the fever spreads. First, clocks, of course, but now it is hard to believe in skin. The slow drag of words across it is a strange actuality. Because I have not known the feel of hummingbirds, have not counted the beats that keep them from falling. Because I have not known piles of half-crushed skulls, have not held them up and seen light through their dry sockets. Because I have not known blood, have not tasted what my mouth wraps around. Because still, my rain is just rain. My red is just red. Because I cannot actually eat my young, but I do, nightly. All that remains is how best to fit one shape upon another. The hammer's handle is sharper than the nails, because it knows my hand. The corners of shapes begin to peel away, immediately, like a grown child's wallpaper. I have painted over so often the foundation might be driftwood, or any other word for abandon.
Elliptic. I tell them nothing is important. Seasons are cyclic, they say. I'll come around. But I'd disagree if they'd listen. They'd see their elliptic and level out for stretches in between. When my skin is taut with the sting of the sun's pull, and my hair smells of chlorine, even the days are thinner on this longer side. If folded, it's the rain and the colorless hills, the smell of the cellar where all the weighted sun shims under the long night's chill. Flatter allows for speed in these stretches, so I can spill into the turns that wrap me in their color if they can catch me. I find no one can own things. The hump of a gibbous, the arc of the beam, the long haul for a glass of water when I fear where I'll go when I'm gone. I drive west out of the Caldecott into a hairpin turn to 13. I have always known if I go fast enough, I might remain in between.
Moth. If I lived on the surface of the sun, I would burn without going to hell like a moth. I would dry my clothes in half a second, but I would miss you and all the other stars, too jealous to shine with so much light around me.
I would miss you.
Relevance? You take a train right into your past. It takes only a second because the camera is in slow motion, the oven in slow burn mode. Is it all worth it with all the pain and hatred when the painting sings and the song moves you to tears, and that smile is worth 1,000 lives as others die in this crooked world?
One 108 times 108 years ago, the mighty Hindu god Manjushri struck the Himalayas with his fiery sword, and with a thunderous roar the mountains split open, forming the Kathmandu Valley. Water roared down the hills over the Tarai, through its jungles and out to the seas. 108 years later, this great rushing calmed into countless rivers and springs, and here, close to our village, veiled like a woman in purdah behind a curtain of banyan trees, a pool sharp with the fragrance of gelid Himalayan glaciers murmuring lost souls to their death. Our ghost pool, boot, pool. Many years ago, when fierce beasts roamed the Tarai, a traveler set off deep into the jungle. He may have been hunting the silver rhinos or chasing visions. The Kafo-Pakio birds tried to warn the stranger with their Kafo-Pakio, Kafo-Pakio. But the stranger, he did not listen to those birds, and instead he followed the monkeys, who had gathered among the banyans thick as vines, and from treetops the monkeys threw sticks and branches at the foreigner. Deeper and deeper, the stranger clambered after the monkeys, deeper and deeper, closer and closer to Boot Pool. The jungle was dense with creeping plants as thick as an elephant's leg, but the stranger carried both knife and determination, and he slashed through until he scrambled up a clay embankment, until below him Boot's water rushed, soothing and lush after the jungle heat. Once he breathed in the water's moist air. Once he licked her water from his parched lips, slid a hand into the warm water at her shallow, sunny edge. His death was certain. The stranger lifted his hand and he wiped the salty dust from his brow, and Boot's clear, cool scent ran down his face, across his collarbone. Thinking only of relief from the heat, he slipped into the shallow edge. The monkeys stopped. The Kafo-Pakio birds ceased. The forest stilled. All watched Boot Pools lapping against the man's thighs, watched him slide deeper, watched him kick from the shore, watched with dread as her water enfolded his chest into a dark, foaming cloak. And then the traveler sighed, and the forest sucked in its breath. If only he had stayed at the shallow edge, but from the shadows beneath the dripping ferns, Boot's murmuring drew him in. The rush of her little cascade beckoned like bikinis, and the man plunged deeper into her cold arms, and unable to hold back any longer, the Kafo-Pakio birds, they sounded their alarm. Kafo-Pakio, Kafo-Pakio! The monkeys, they shrieked. But it was too late. The man's thrashing and splattering soon stilled. The birds and the monkeys, eventually they moved on, and only Boot Pool remained. Much later, we discovered the man's body. It was curled as if asleep against Boot's fern-soft edge, and we shook our heads at his folly, for we knew what the stranger could not possibly know. Only ghosts come to Boot Pool.
Magnified, as I stand on the crest of the bridge, the two sides become wings that let me leap right from this moment into a fairy tale. Oh, how the water runs as if nothing mattered. Now I can fly like this with careless self-confidence, knowing there is more of me where this came from. But if I reach the ocean, how will I know it's not just my tear magnified?
Each morning, the clock mislays 1 second, and another as I wind back its hand. The sunlight upon its face is beginning again to haul timber from the deep forest. I am wearing its undress. Of all sinking things, only this moment will be saved. My fingers choked back in my mouth, and the song of an old brass instrument out over empty seats.
Friendships hung on mailbox hinges in those summers in between. Time stretched round, spokes tearing downhill, straining up as we free. Hitching ambition to stars we never thought to call, never grasped the aching enormity of stark white found in the darkened caves at the end
A century's view of Rocky Butte. On this high ground, where cars fog with secrets, where there is nothing but views to protect, and an asphalt moat rings the cindered cone, are built stairs and walls of works progress stone. Gone is the jail of county criminals, torn down by traffic's roaring carousels, and gone is the hill of good war sharp shots, spent casings glinting in the bottle shards. Here, scripture soldiers live in egg-shelled domes, and love their Bibles more than man or ghost. Their faith's gimcrack light once was a beacon, merely scopes the view, and planing heaven now leaves contrail shavings, mites, and mica, as if the moon pulled open a trapdoor.
Expansion. If our palms could touch in open space and push us off into unknown galaxies, creating ourselves, I'd land in an old city by the river with an imprint of the future on my lips. I would harvest stars and slide down rainbows. We would smile through light years within a second. You could tell me the truth in a dance. In your shadow, I would see my reflection, creating myself as my shadow reflects your face.
Perforated. I see a man, silhouette cut from the skyline. So I also cut out the roof he stands on. I cut out the tools and the cascading shingles. I cut out the hydrangeas the shingles decapitate on their way down. I cut out the mountain in the distance, still coddling its last snows, replacing it with a silo, the shingles with paper snowflakes. I replaced the man with another man, with a woman, with a horse, a piano, with a book, and myself. Nothing quite fits. But the man no longer fits either, or the roof, or the skyline. And I wonder, is this what it means to touch?
The complete history of our lives. One day, a city was built, then it was destroyed. Somewhere in between, fast our lives, long like an eyelash. In slow motion. You step off the curb and a speeding car picks you up. You linger in the air like a leaf, dead, but oh, so beautiful. One day you might land where other leaves are waiting for you.
Whisper me into space. List my name in the catalog of falling stars. Make me a smiling atom, hiding in a friendly molecule. Remember me into darkness. Imagine me into silence. The camera was in slow motion. The oven in slow burn mode.
This is a place. Its limits are parallel lines, and what more we bring to minds. People enter from unseen doors and leave when the crowded summer sun is most vibrant, nearly bursting itself. They leave for all to see. We're still seeking that first door, hoping it was also our own.
This is a place. The sign reads vacancies. Oh, perfect. The shadow long beneath the sign is necessary, is cast from a permanent object. We stand in the shadow, fingers frozen on the doorknob.
This is a place of negative capability. Let's sit together for a moment, astonished at being, astonished by it.
This is a place. Heavenly rain falls hard, and from the pavement we rain back up.
This is a place like any other. Some of its escapes are ruined roads. Some are held together by the clenched white folds of hydrangeas. And wherever we step, the loosening floorboards sing. Let's sing with them. Let's climb together into their shipwreck.
The truth. If you were the brightest star, would we need other light sources? If you were the final answer, would other thoughts have use? Maybe flawed hands exert a perfect touch. Maybe the truth is a lot of lies mixed together.
Agency. The hummingbirds I feed each morning seem like saints, like honest portraits of saints. But they're only hawking another sketch of eternity. Buddha, Pest. Two unique names converge. From their vantage points on opposing sides of a river, who is yielding more to bear this simplicity of shape, this married language? Surely it must be the other leaning into deformity. Always it must be the other. Either way, the maps need changing. Names are no longer irreducible to themselves.
Finding myself. My whale self floats with mountains crouching underneath. My bird self hops from branch to shaking branch, tweeting in wonder. My wolf self breathes dark elegy and forgets to sleep. My insect self leaps around nothingness, flirting with fire. May my human self stay alert and humble at the edge of these mysteries.
Okay, so the metaphor is truth, unquestionable. Its steps are not those leaving wet, scattered marks to follow or erase, or the delicate scars of growing up into itself. When it shifts bodily, who seeks elsewhere an equal and opposite reaction? Who expects a migration of origami birds? Who expects to touch the blood and rust of broken buildings, the blood and rust of Japanese maple? This city I love can be a soulless city. Even peace can be ugly. This need to de- and reconstruct is easier when the pieces don't fit. Yet, such a simple thing as nothing, without cohort or crime, shakes the entire world, is the grease of the engine, is the box, and what I place in the box. I place everything in the box, and learn the tough love of return. I want to learn, like a tree, know the silence of my voice. When I shift bodily, I want the space to remain unfilled. I want to write nothing, but still mean. Be a city in the same way I can never be a city. Be the grease and noise and heart and waste of the engine. I want to always be afraid that all things unplanted still glisten.
mentimos cuando soñamos. In bed,
We lie.
I was told
When we
I'll never meet the
dream
one
in
because I only have one
space,
nightstand.
we fall far
Bumschen,
from
insult.
God.
I nod
Each nod
and bite my
a
cheeks.
toy.
I could be a smile.
Nights
I'm not,
sleep.
but it could be.
Nodding.
Who do I nod to
Nodding.
now? That
A
smallest
green
of hellos, the tiniest of
feeling.
lies. Everybody
Our
knows
tongues
to be
rest
polite.
on an
Even to sleep
ocean
I nod. Sleep
floor.
can't be strong-armed, twisted,
Flounder
tortured.
feeding.
Lies would hide
Cheeks
where I was going.
slacken.
The smoking starlight
Salivation.
where I had been.
As if
Now
sleep
I just click it
is
like
a
a eula,
meal
so I
with
continue.
a tinge
Let me in.
of
Here are the
embarrassment.
lies we're left. White or colorless.
awkwardness,
Practical, transparent.
gratitude.
A lie so we can sleep.
I do it.
A lie to keep things going.
You do it.
A lie to sell us good.
We do it.
A lie of the willing.
Alone.
To cope without being ascetic.
I lose
All we do is deceive, and it is
my
close.
hunger,
Close our eyes and
my
nod.
sleep.
Now we neither
As if
confirm
I
nor deny.
Was not
We don't need the devil
good
to sit on our chest.
company.
We don't need
Trusted
orange jumpsuits,
security.
blackout goggles.
Blankets.
We have Hara's
To
hands
take
to
the
cover our eyes.
zombie
We save our faces
side
under
of
the cool of the
the
pillow.
bed.
We still don't
No sabemos.
know what
No que puede
nobody can deny.
negar nadie.
White space. Beneath the long shadows of crosses and crows that shade the slopes of passing hills, the white space I have left around this experience explodes into a smile of oats. The page is a blur with unspeak. There's an audience to every song, especially the parts unsung. The stamen, the conversation, the giant crosses overlooking nothing, then wheat, are smaller than even the faintest human touch. And the scars left by crows are only visible when nobody is left to see them. I want to write nothing. So much nothing. The entire audience explodes in Ozark flowers.
Sharing. On the ocean shore, I remember things I used to take for granted. On a mountain top, I imagine my future mistakes. The music was there. Before we started, we passed it around. We live with puzzles on our lips. On a mountain top, within a piece of land the shape of a desert island, amidst the ocean, surrounded by land, in my room, I own a puzzle I cannot share.
Whispering the silence
again, thank you everyone here for coming out to support Broadway Books and ourselves, and thank you in particular to Broadway Books for having us here. Again, my name is John Sibley Williams.
A Molotkov.
David Cooke.
Carrie-Ann Tkaczyk.
Ragon Linde.
And
Ragon Linde.
And we're part of the Moonlit Guttery team. This has been Raining Back Up. I hope you've enjoyed it. Flight. We swiftly took to the road,
But there was no road.
nor lines upon the road.
But we followed the lines.
One of us turned up the radio to kill off any song.
And we hummed silently together till the end.
But there was no end. Thank you.